Hello everyone, I'm forecaster Jack Sillin here with your tropical weather discussion video for Monday, August 31st, 2020. After a very busy week in the tropics with Hurricane Laura, Hurricane Marco, we have seen a little bit of a respite in the Atlantic this weekend. There are no systems currently active or threatening the U.S. That said, there are plenty of systems with the potential to develop into tropical cyclones over the next 5 to 7 days. Luckily, none of these appear to pose a near-term threat to the U.S., but there's certainly indications that longer term we could have some storms to talk about. So the first system that we're going to look at here is the one closest to the U.S. at the moment, also one of the least likely to impact the U.S., ironically. It is organizing here south of North Carolina. You can see there's a little bit of a spin in the thunderstorm activity in this area this morning. The Hurricane Center is expecting this to become a tropical depression by tonight or tomorrow as it moves off to the east-northeast. So because it's moving away from the coast, not really expecting much in the way of impacts. Maybe you get a few breezy showers here along the North Carolina coastline. But other than that, and maybe some enhanced surf, this really isn't anything to worry about. That storm will be headed off to the north and east and probably just going to burn through another name on our way to the Greek alphabet. The next storm to talk about is down here in the Caribbean. It's also spinning a bit, but has no well-defined low-level center of circulation as of the moment. The Hurricane Center is also expecting this to become a tropical depression or storm in the next day or two. It's moving fairly briskly off to the west, but it has a good outflow. Here you can see the cirrus moving off south and north of the system. So this is a tough spot for tropical cyclones to develop because the trade winds are so strong in the low levels that it's hard to get a westerly wind to complete your circulation. But as the storm slows down, moves farther into the western Caribbean, that's likely to become less and less of an issue, and we could see development occur either tonight or tomorrow. This system is expected to basically move due west into Central America, so definitely going to be a big heavy rain threat. Parts of Jamaica could see very heavy rain from this, and then Honduras, Belize, Nicaragua, Guatemala, all expecting to see heavy rain from this system as it moves northwest in the next couple days. Farther east in the Atlantic, there's a whole mishmash of tropical waves where they're all embedded in this sort of monsoon trough or the intertropical convergence zone, depending on how you want to refer to it. There's really no well-defined wave or center of circulation or anything. It's just like a whole bunch of thunderstorm activity sort of embedded within this wind shift axis. It's sort of on the south side of this plume of Saharan dust, which is noteworthy because usually we don't get Saharan dust this time of year. So that's interesting that's still here. It's probably going to be a limiting factor in the development of this, whatever circulations try to get going here. And it's not entirely clear, where that'll happen. If we look at model guidance, you can see that there's all of this sort of dispersed, I guess, or certainly not consolidated. There's just all these little swirlies, I guess is the best way to describe them, but they're not really coalescing around any particular center. And it'll be hard to figure out, where and when a tropical cyclone might form until we have the consolidated center of circulation, or at the very least a wave axis to keep an eye on, because right now it's just there's absolutely no sign of organization here. It's complete random chaos with how these thunderstorms are interacting. So it'll probably be a few days before we see something try to spin up here. ECMWF model guidance basically takes it right through this time next week before we actually get a coherent entity to track. And then even then, if this is our developing storm, you have all of these satellite circulations to keep an eye on. It's going to be a giant mess out here. And as a result, because this is, just random, convective interactions, I mean, it's a little bit hard to describe just how weird this is. But you're going to see models really struggle. So definitely don't take any particular model solution as being the most likely situation here. because when you're dealing with, you know, these random convective interactions and how these thunderstorms pop up and interact and try to spin together into a circulation and then form these satellite circulations, I mean, this is model kryptonite. There is really, you know, few weaker points in numerical weather guidance than, you know, stochastic convection trying to coalesce into these you know, systems that we might be able to track then as tropical entities. So there might be something to talk about here in a week or two. You know, whatever does form out here will be steered basically due west by this monster ridge of high pressure developing over the Atlantic. So whatever happens down here with these cyclones, especially anything that can get west of, say, 60 west, it is definitely going to be something we have to keep an eye on. But you know, now we're moving into mid-late next week. So while, you know, look, this is peak hurricane season right here, September 10th. That's the climatological peak of hurricane season. So yeah, we got to keep an eye on any one of these little swirlies that happens to generate enough convection to become a tropical cyclone. And if that can, you know, meander west of, say, 60 west, be it into the Caribbean or north into the southwestern Atlantic, the steering pattern is basically pointing right up the East Coast. So if you're along the East Coast, I would say the odds of a tropical cyclone, you know, that we have to think about, you know, I'm not going to say that it's going to impact us, you know, any mistiming of these troughs or ridges, or if the cyclone fizzles out over Hispaniola, not that we've really seen that happen this year, or if it just never gets going, right? That's the other possibility, is that we just end up with all these random swirlies that never coalesce into a tropical cyclone. That's also very possible. But I think that the odds of us having to think a little bit harder about tropical cyclones here along the East Coast are increasing as we head into the, say, latter half of the first week of September into the second week of September. And that's due to this steering pattern that's really conducive for whatever happens down here, whether it's a tropical depression, a tropical disturbance that has no circulation, or whether it's a hurricane. Whatever is here 10 days from now is moving in the direction of the East Coast. So that's about all we can say at the moment. It's never a bad time to review your hurricane plan. Make sure you're ready. That's advice I'd give you if it looks like there is a Category 4 hurricane coming, or if there's absolutely nothing happening on model guidance as we head into the peak hurricane season. But I think if, you know, if this pattern is a motivating factor for you to take a closer look at your hurricane plan along the East Coast, I think that would be a wise investment of your time at some point this week. So again, we'll have much more discussing all these systems as we get a better idea of where they're going. As far as ensemble guidance is concerned, you know, here's our weak tropical whatever depression or storm off the East Coast. Really no impacts there unless you're in the shipping world. Here's the weak signal for whatever that tropical or that Caribbean disturbance is. I think EPS guidance is underselling that disturbance. It will likely become a tropical storm or maybe even a hurricane before moving west into Belize or Honduras. Not expecting that to come north into the Gulf of Mexico because we have this huge ridge of high pressure over Florida. So that's basically set the steering pattern more or less in stone this week. This big ridge is going to be playing defense along the Gulf Coast. So that's welcome news after Laura and Marco. And then you can see this giant mess of who even knows what the heck is going on. Some model guidance takes a hurricane, you know, way out. It never makes it west of 35 west. Other model guidance says absolutely nothing is going to happen here. It's just going to be random thunderstorms swirling about in this monsoon trough that never coalesces into a tropical cyclone. Other model guidance says, yeah, we might get a hurricane moving off to the west-northwest. And then who knows, it would come down to the ridge and trough timing of whether that would recurve or whether that would make a close brush or actually make an impact on the East Coast. So anyways, nothing really too much to think about in a specific sense right now, but from a general perspective, the odds of continued tropical cyclone impacts along the East Coast probably a little bit higher than normal heading into peak season this year. All right, that's it for me for now. I'll be back with much more as we watch these systems develop. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.